This is the Neoliberal Around podcast. Are you listening to me?
I am.
Yes. So I was listening earlier. I was talking to you about. I took home one of our cousins yesterday from Thanksgiving. I took him. Okay, his family is from Saint Elizabeth. Okay. His family is from Saint Elizabeth, and I asked him about the hurricane. How you guys fared in the hurricane, and he was saying it wasn't good. They live in Black River. The hurricane touched down on Black River. Black River got it the worst. And he said that, it's still bad. And his mom or his aunt had to move and then go somewhere else, and where she went also got flooded out. And he said that the thing is, and I spoke with him. I said, what's going on with the relief effort? And he said it's not going good. All they want to talk is big talk and go around and take pictures and photo ops and talk about rebuilding. He said the relief is awful. After the hurricane, he said that they didn't build any tents. Ricardo, they did not build any tents or set up tents and any temporary tents, temporary food stations, temporary sanitation stations, checking the people, make sure that health-wise they are good. Immediately after the hurricane, that was not done, and it's still not being done. So I'm like, what is going on? I mean, in terms of other people eating there, are they coordinating efforts to ensure that, just to mitigate and to minimize the immediate effect of the hurricane, the relief, and then afterwards you can talk about rebuilding. Okay? The first responders. What was the first response like? People talk about first response. There was no first response. The government of Jamaica had no coordinated effort. The response was awful. And even now. And what we're hearing is rebuilding. But what about relief in terms of people don't have clothes, people don't have food, people don't have shelter, people don't have water, Ricardo? I heard that there's dead carcasses and they're asking if we can bring back the vultures and the crows, the giant crows in Jamaica, whatever they call them. Okay.
Wait, they got rid of them?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I heard that there was not enough or something. Maybe because after the hurricane they fled. Birds usually, fly, but they want them to come. They're talking. But the first response. But I am concerned about hardly anybody died. Nobody died. The people are there, but there's sanitation issue. There is no shelter. We need what they should have built, like tents. Like temporary tents, like when they do the immigration thing here in the US, and they build all these, they call them concentration camps, but they're not concentration camps. They build these tents, and they try to help people, provide food and clothing and shelter. When the Haitians were coming here from Haiti, and they built tents and they provide them with food and clothes and they provided medication, mobile stations for them and stuff. What is going on with that?
Americans hate that right now. African Americans hated that.
Hate what?
The idea of helping other people, like the Haitians who are in need.
Yeah, but I'm just drawing an example in terms of what's going on in the hurricane. Immediately after the hurricane, the first response should be relief and just helping the people who are immediately affected by the hurricane. People who lose their homes, people don't have food to eat. There is medical issues, checking or ensuring that everybody's fine. But none of that was set up. Station set up.
All their resources are always pretty low. So
Ricardo,
before that.
but the government should have set up temporary relief centers in these immediately. They should have flown helicopters over the area, yes, just to assess the damage and go into see what the immediate needs are. And ensure that not only just what the immediate needs are, provide tents in certain areas for these people to go to feed them, to clothe them, to test them, to ensure to assess their medical needs, and to see if there's ensure that there's no outbreak of cholera or anything like that. Ensure that they have food, clothes, shelter, and their immediate needs are met. Once that is done, then the next step is to rebuild.
Yeah.
That the Jamaican, and I heard that the first person to have done that was Shaggy. The Jamaican celebrities were flying in and giving them food and feeding them and so on and so forth. The Jamaican government did not organize and coordinate those efforts.
Yeah.
Because what is happening, I told you, I teach Caribbean thought and Caribbean history. We have a mentality, a dependency, Ricardo, a dependency where we constantly look for people to come in and do those fine. The rebuilding effort, other people can do it, maybe they need help with that. But at least the immediate relief effort, you mean they can't do that either?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
You know.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. I'll call you back.
I would like to talk about that we should talk about that on the podcast, and also the latest from John Anthony Castro. We're learning that.
I'm putting together some questions about that. I want to make sure I get it together. So I'm building it up, and I need to also have a couple podcasts I produced and wanted to ask a question about your book, your first book, your second book, your thesis, what you deduced. When I was talking about that, because I noticed something today. I was watching an article. There was a black man that was on TV talking about the difference between black Americans, black Africans, and black Caribbean people. And it's interesting. And it really underlines what your original neoliberal argument and thesis was about looking at social issues regarding particularly people from third world countries like Jamaica, Africans who are developing nations versus people from industrialized nations who are considered poor or marginalized, and you look at their thought processes, and it was exactly what this guy was about in his argument. And I'm like, did he read another book? Because the idea behind your neoliberal decentralization economics and all of your book addresses, he talked about it, but he didn't do it from a intellectual point of view because he was not well read or intellectual enough to talk about it, but he was onto something. I said, this is what Ronaldo was trying to get to without, was talking about it. I've not heard him actually dissect it or get back down into that. And I think he needs to.
Well, I think we lost Ricardo, and that's about the second book speaks to that, which I haven't published yet. And then my research at Georgetown and at Temple will bring that together, because at Temple I was doing the PhD in Africology, because after doing the Doctor of Liberal Studies at Georgetown, I realized that the foundations of Western civilization or liberal studies is lacking. It was lacking, so I decided to do the PhD in Africology and started to do some courses in Africology. I took a little break from that a bit because of my mom's death and what I had to be dealing with. Hopefully I can get a chance to go back and complete my PhD, but if I don't get a chance to complete the PhD, the research will continue. There are several which will be released shortly. There's so many things I'm working on, but this is the Neoliberal podcast, and I was speaking with Ricardo about several different things. Of course, one of the things that we were talking about was what I learned about what's going on in Jamaica. And of course, I did write an article that speaks to this. I wrote an article and which one about John Anthony Castro, and I also wrote an article about the relief effort in Jamaica. And if I can share that article with you now, in the article, and if I could, I'm going to bring up the article now. The title of the article is in the Neoliberal Journals. It's published in the Neoliberal Journals. The Neoliberal Journals at the Neoliberal Corporation's Moral Magazine. The title of the article is "Left in the Storm. Black River residents say Jamaica's relief response failed them." And I published this about an hour, 2 hours ago. And the article begins like this: when a hurricane tears through a country, the wind should not be the only thing roaring. The government's emergency response should be loud, visible, coordinated. A symphony of tents, rising, medical units mobilizing. A symphony of tents rising, medical units mobilizing. food lines forming, and rescue teams sweeping every corner, where fear still sits trembling. And in Black River, St. Elizabeth, residents say the silence was louder than the storm. Across the parish, people are alleging that Jamaica's immediate relief efforts were plainly ineffective, not delayed, not understaffed, ineffective as in no tents, no structured food program, no medical stations, no clear governmental ground game, and no coordinated system for displaced residents. That's what we are learning, okay? That's what we are learning, and I'm not happy about that. Imagine surviving a hurricane only to find that the real emergency begins afterward. Residents tell us helicopters circled overhead, surveying the destruction from a safe altitude, while families on the ground stood hungry, soaked and scared, waiting for help that never seemed to land. Children, the elderly, those with chronic illnesses, none were properly accounted for. People slept in damaged homes, in cars, under makeshift tarps, because there was no organized shelters or shelter site. In a disaster, assessment from the sky is not relief on the ground. Yes? Where was the emergency infrastructure? In best practice, disaster response, essential services should be pre-positioned and deployed immediately. Emergency tents and tarpaulin, shelters, mobile medical units, water and sanitation teams, tracking systems for displaced individuals, field kitchens and food distribution, child protection and elderly care stations. Trained personnel coordinating the chaos. Yet residents reported that none of this materialized, and crucially, no dedicated relief station was set up in the affected zones. Instead, word spread through the community that it was private citizens, Jamaican celebrities across, and charitable supporters like Shaggy, who moved faster than the state. They showed up with food, water, supplies, and comfort, while the official machinery was still warming up its engines. Yes? That's what we are learning today, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we are learning today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I'm having a problem here as we're under a bit of attack, but I won't be dismayed and I won't be deterred. Yes? But Jamaica is a proud nation. But pride doesn't fill an empty stomach. Relief before rebuilding, always. Before rebuilding roadways and promising reconstruction contracts, the first order of national duty is human stabilization. Let me say this again. Jamaica is a proud nation, yes, but pride doesn't fill an empty stomach. Relief before rebuilding is always the key. And before rebuilding roadways and promising reconstruction contracts, the first order of national duty is human stabilization. That means shelter, food, water, medical care, sanitation, safety, psychological support, accurate accounting of displaced persons. Yes? That is what we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. After that, and only after that, do you begin the work of reconstruction. Residents in Black River say they were leapfrogged straight to assessment without ever receiving phase 1, which is immediate relief. It's like checking the foundation before checking if people are alive inside. So what's going on? What's really going on? It's the question rumbling through WhatsApp chats, community meetings, radio call-ins, and roadside conversations. Why was there no rapid response? Where were the tents? Where were the mobile clinics? Where were the boots on the ground? And why did it take celebrities to do what the government should have done on day one? We don't yet have a full answer, but we do have a full picture painted by the people living it. And their picture is not flattering. A storm hit them once. The system hit them twice. A call for accountability and action. This moment is bigger than Black River. It's about the national emergency response, the national emergency response blueprint, the gaps in planning, and the lived experience of Jamaicans who feel abandoned when disaster strikes. This is an invitation, or rather a demand, for transparent explanation from government agencies, rapid deployment of delayed relief, public mapping of shelters and services, medical and sanitation units on site, assessment teams walking the streets, not flying above them, a published timeline of the government response, oversight from civil society groups, a comprehensive, modernized disaster response plan. Because if we cannot protect our people in the first 48 hours after a hurricane, then we are not protecting them at all. Black River is not asking for luxury. They are asking for humanity. And as one resident put it, standing beside a damaged home and an untouched food bin, he said, "We survived the hurricane. We just didn't survive the waiting." I'm Ronaldo Mackenzie, the editor-in-chief and president of the neoliberal journals and the Neoliberal Corporation. And please, this story is available in theneoliberal.com. Thank you so much. And please send us your feedback. Let us know what you feel about, what you think about the government response. And there is a Jamaica Strong benefit concert on December 12th, organized by Roadblock Radio and others, including Shaggy's Foundation. And they're doing a foundation. It's going to be December 12th at about 5 or 6 p.m. at the Audubon Center in New York. They're raising funds to tackle the relief efforts. Please, we will talk. I will have Sophia White, one of the organizers of Roadblock Radio, on Sunday, talking with me about the relief efforts and about the show that's coming up. But we hope to speak with somebody from the Jamaican government about what we're learning and what's happening now. Ronaldo Mackenzie of the Neoliberal Round Podcast. Welcome. This is the Neoliberal Round Podcast.